Do you ever just get in a mood where literally you just want to read literally everything in front of you, but there's just not enough time in the day? I've heard that at some point we get some dragons. Yeah. Y'all, I just had the best experience of my entire life. It's fall, y'all. Hello friends and welcome to my channel, and also welcome to the first, I'm so excited, video of fall. I have been just needing fall to come around. It is officially August 11th and in my head it's already October. So I am not someone who is a big fan of summer traditionally. I am of the fair folk. I do not like the sun, but I'm also somebody who doesn't necessarily like to celebrate holidays or seasons early. I don't care this year. I am full set in fall. It is literally, we're not even halfway through August yet and I'm already there. I'm already there. I have been exclusively drinking Alani Witch's Brew for the last, I don't know, since it came out, and I just feel like I'm in the spirit to start reading some fall books and also to start doing hopefully some fall things. I'm gonna hold off a little bit before I buy the pumpkins and the mums and all the fun things, but I do definitely want to start getting into the fall spooky, gothic-y, dark fantasy and romance reading mood. Hi, sorry, no reading is happening in this vlog so far because we're just like really fall, but I did just get onto, I was scrolling Facebook during my lunch and somebody posted that Glamnetic just came out with their fall designs and they're very cutesy, very mindful, very demure. Can you see these? Are these not the most beautiful little floral things? I think I'm gonna get a set of those, and then also the Glamzilla tortoise ones. I think I'm gonna do these first. However, these are in stock at Ulta now, so I'm really wow, focused mentally but also camera wise. I'm really inclined to go pick these up tonight. Oh, okay, no, here's actually a reading update. Haha. I have been really wanting to read The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. That was actually my fall TBR from last year. That was like one of the #1 books for my fall TBR, and then I just never got to it. I ended up buying the audiobook because I've heard really good things about the audiobook, but Whispersync is available. Every time I try to get into the Kindle app and do Whispersync, it just doesn't work. And I even try to go from Audible and click like reading Kindle, and it just, for some reason, it's just not wanting to sync up. So I don't know what that's about, but that will be my next book, potentially. I listened to the first, like, I don't know, 5 minutes while I was doing the dishes the other day, and I was like, I literally cannot focus right now. So I'm more inclined to eyeball reading at the moment, which is good. Good that I recognize that, because I feel like sometimes when I get really stuck into one format and I never switch it up, I don't ever like realize like, wow, I don't really want to pick that book up, and it's just because I have been trying to force the same format over and over. So switching to the physical read, I think, is going to be very good for us. Anyways, that's all. TT Whale, thank you so much. So I accidentally managed to not skip my HelloFresh order this week. I need to officially cancel, but I still haven't. Anyways, I got my order with some various meals, one of them being a little spinach, chicken, pear, feta, cranberry, and then like a, I don't know what this dressing actually is. Is it a creamy balsamic dressing? Because pears are technically now in season, actually kind of good. So if you're looking for a salad recipe, here you go. I think the combination of the pear and the cranberry really makes it quite tasty. However, I definitely will not be intentionally ordering this from HelloFresh again, because how much freaking plastic, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Oh, there's walnuts. Not me forgetting the walnuts. This was a really easy meal to make because all you had to do was, it was like chicken with steak seasoning that you just pan fried, and I pan fried everything yesterday, and then it was a really good meal prep because then I just assembled everything together, and it is stunning. Anyways, I'm gonna eat this. Now that I'm standing here in the living room though, I am realizing, first of all, that I didn't put cranberries on my salad yesterday, so I have extra cranberries today. I actually have these little like LED candles on my bookshelf in here. Very cutie, right? I know that these need new batteries because it's about that time, and I wanted to see what kind of batteries these were. They're AA. So I got these Kindles at Sam's. I think it came in like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can I count? I think it came in a 6-pack, but for like 21 bucks. So I'm gonna go order another set of these so I can put some in my bedroom bookshelves so we can just be like cozy, spooky, cutesy little lights that actually do have a timer on these, which they come on at like 6 p.m. every day and they go off at midnight. Lovely. So, yay fall. Okay, so I have begun The Poisoner, and I am in fact having a very good time. I have a really weird comparison for this book. Hear me out for a second. It's like if Lights Out met Fairy Tale, met Belladonna, and they all came together to have a little threesome baby. I don't really understand how that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. So our female main character, Alina, she is the poisoner. Basically, she's kind of like a pharmacist who has the guise, the alias, the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the justification, but you get what I'm trying to say. She owns a pharmacy, so she kind of has a front, there we go, to mix some poisons, to basically hand out to people to kill the bad people in the world, which like we support women's rights, but like we support women's wrongs, okay? So she is kind of, she's a baddie, okay? She is a man-eater. Unfortunately, she has met a man-eater. Also, throw in a little bit of Bridgerton, which also brings to mind Kiss of Iron by Claire Sager. So basically, this book just feels like a love child of a bunch of books that I like in my brain, and I'm really into that idea. But she, at a ball, party, night, whatever you want to call it, she sees something, we can say, and becomes witness to something, we can say, and unfortunately for her, she finds Big Bad, and that Big Bad in fact is a vampire situation. It's kind of giving like if a snake and a vampire came together. It's interesting. The angle that the author is taking towards vampires in this world is not something that I've necessarily seen before, so I do appreciate a little bit of a unique take. However, the vampire, we find out his name is Silas Forbes. He has the hots for Alina, and oh no, she knows that he is creature that is killing people, and she does not want to be around creature who's killing people, but he's obsessed with her. So we get a little bit of a stalker, he's obsessed with her, but like also why does she kind of like it kind of vibes. So far I'm intrigued. I am listening to the audiobook, and might I just say, the audiobook is really doing it for me. He does this like weird clicking sound as part of him being a vampire and like otherness that I feel like would read kind of weird. The way that the audiobook does it, they actually put in a similar sound instead of just writing out like clicking. You're actually getting to hear the clicking, and it is giving the spookiest, like scariest, ooh, heart is racing, this is not good, suspenseful kind of vibe, and I'm absolutely loving it. This is a duet narration, but both the female and the male narrators are speaking in kind of like a Britishy, flowery Bridgerton accent. Usually that doesn't do well for me, though I am listening to this about like 1.5 speed, which is on the slower side, but I am actually really enjoying that. And also, I don't necessarily love the male narrator because he just gives like creepy British dude, but that's also kind of a good thing. So I am intrigued. The vibes are definitely vibing. The spooky is definitely spooky. I'm a little freaked out. I'm a little creeped out. The horror elements is you know, standing out to me at the moment. So I'm really enjoying the dichotomy of these two characters and how they're working together. I kind of knew that I was gonna like it, but I'm surprised by how much I do in fact like it at the moment. So I'm gonna go book shopping. I will in fact be listening to this audiobook, which is probably not the best idea because listening to scarier leaning things while in public and while also alone in public is maybe not the safest thing to do or the smartest thing to do, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Anyways, that's all. I'm so ready for fall. Okay, I'm sorry for doing this. I just got done book shopping. We're about to go get some dinner, and I'm continuing to listen to The Poisoner. And I have a new comparison, okay? In what world did this comparison not immediately come to me, given the subject matter, and it should have come to me much sooner. However, the next fourth threesome that it's expanding into a foursome, he's talking about how he's like mad at her for having to sleep. He's like, well, I guess I could forgive her, but I'll just sit here and watch her anyways. Tell me that does not give Twilight. Tell me that he's like watching her sleep. Her house is so familiar to him because he spends all of his time watching her sleep. So this book is now a love child between Twilight, Belladonna, Fairy Tale. What's the fourth book that I said? I don't know, but there's lots. Oh, Lights Out. Lots of baby making to be having here, and I'm loving the baby making. I'm loving the brainchild baby making. Conceptually, this should not work. This should be so toxic that it shouldn't work. But I'm loving it. I'm eating it up. I am drinking it up. And I'm getting in line for my turn, because if a vampire just happened to walk on in, I would hate to say, I don't think I'd be mad one bit. Okay, friends, so I have officially finished The Poisoner. I am going to end up giving this a 4.5 star, I think. The reason being that I'm not giving this a full 5 star is because I understand that complaints about the ending. We have this big climactic moment, and then all of a sudden, like, we get 2 paragraphs, like a half a page, I don't know, it's like very short, and then we're just done. And the very short just like completely comes out of left field, and you're like, where did this come from? Like, I need more. The way that it ends really propels you to need more information, because it doesn't give you hardly anything, but completely just sets up where we're going for book 2 really quickly after this really climactic event, and you're like, hello? Hello? Like, what is happening? Also, I don't really know what's happening with this hair at this moment. I got really overstimulated at work yet again, and I just threw it in a clip, and here we are. Anyways, I don't necessarily know that I was aware. Did I know that I knew? Not sure. That The Poisoner is not actually a singular, like, standalone book. I think I thought that it was a standalone, but this is actually the first book in what I think is going to be a trilogy. Please don't quote me on that, because you would probably be just as wrong as me. However, book 2 is actually coming out in October. And I am so glad that I did not actually read The Poisoner last year, and I waited until this year to read it, because whenever October comes around, I'm gonna be really fresh on The Poisoner, but I need it. And the fact that October is closer now than it is to then makes me really glad that I did in fact wait to read it. But like, also I need it. I literally need it so bad. Hi, future me here just to say, I was sitting here watching Tori's bookshelf reorganization video, and saw her copy of The Poisoner, and I was like, I ordered this from Amazon like several days ago, and it's still not here. I know that the shipment was delayed. I should check in on that. And this is how I found out that The Poisoner has now been traditionally published. And not only has it been traditionally published, and I didn't get a copy of it before it went out because there was limited availability. Anyways, I'm not bitter at all. I love having indie copies of books that I really, really liked. Anyways, The Poisoner has been set to re-released in January, and the rack in fact does not come out this October. It will be coming out in July. So here's your sign that if you were really interested in a book, maybe follow the author's Instagram account, and or know what's going on in the world before you get really attached to the idea of this book. And then all of a sudden, not only can you not get a copy of it, you also will now have to wait for book 2, even though you were so excited about having to wait for book 2. Anyways, okay, thanks so much, bye. So if you're looking for absolutely the most perfect fall book, and the most perfect book to kick off fall, I'm enjoying the purpose that this book is having for me so far. I think that the romance was really strong in this book, but also the way that we were able to world build about the creature and that species of creatures in the format of our female main character being a scientist. I called her a pharmacist earlier, and that's like kind of what she is, but really she's more of an apothecary. The fact that this book takes place in a past time period kind of complicates her, like, I don't know, position as a scientist. Like, it's not a pharmacy, it's an apothecary. Like, you get what I'm trying to say. Medicine. There has been some evolution in that history. But she is now using him as kind of a test dummy. She makes a deal with him to give her information, basically, and the way that that shifts their character dynamics, I really loved. Like, it gave her power in the relationship, and I just thought that it was really, really fun to watch. And the way that we are learning about his species and different things that he can do, we're learning about it through her eyes as she's figuring these things out. But then also it just makes things interesting because we're trying to figure out the next thing the whole time. And the last couple books I have read have been very, okay, let's figure out the next problem, let's go. And I love that because it really keeps you interested, and you're asking yourself the questions, even though you're not responsible for solving the questions. You're like, oh, but I want to know, and it keeps you reading, and I love that. I love it a lot. So overall, I had a really good time with this book. The romance is definitely a higher aspect, especially in the, I don't know, beginning, middle, and then we start to get into a little bit more plot, and I'm kind of seeing where and why we do need more books in the series, and I'm intrigued. However, the darkness of this book, I really loved. I think we were able to take a vampire-like creature and do something different in the lore of what we usually think of vampires, but then also use that to introduce some dark romance themes. This wasn't a horror, but there were definitely some horrific elements to this book, and I just loved it. It was a really good start to fall, and I'm really glad that I picked it up. So that is book 1 for this vlog. Book number 2, we have started Deadwood by Carly Brenna. I have read from Carly Brenna before. I read her Bell Buckle Ranch series. I read them at Christmas time this last year, and I think the last book had not been published yet, and I haven't gone back and finished that last one yet, but I really enjoyed that as a cowboy romance. But she has several books in different formats, different genres. She has several cowboy romances. She's got some masked cowboy, like dark romances, and now she is coming out with her debut fantasy romance. But I feel like I've had a lot of luck lately with romance authors publishing their first fantasy romance. Specifically Quicksilver, Callie Hart, you have my appreciation. I cannot wait to reread, and I can't wait for Brimstone. Anyways, moving on. So I have high hopes for this book. However, this book starts off, we are given our female main character, Arya. She's technically the princess of this realm, though she does not claim the princess-ship, the princess-hood, whatever you want to call it, because her father has no plans to ever let her become the queen of this realm. She will never have any rulership in this realm. She is the dirt beneath his shoe, which is super fun and great to watch. She has a very abusive parental relationship, both between her father, and then she's got the evil stepmother character. Arya is princess in name, and at any functions where other people are looking at them, she's supposed to be the trophy princess, in which she is just supposed to sit, look pretty, and do exactly what her father wants. There is also some magical world building in this world in which Arya actually has the ability to duplicate magic. They have these little vials, and she is able to take a healing vial, for example. She can actually duplicate that and make more, which is then making the kingdom even richer because they have all this magic. So she is just stuck down in the cellar. Her dad's like, okay, sweatshop, let's go. But there are other kingdoms in this world that are looking at this kingdom and saying, hey, why are you guys so rich? And the king's like, oh, it's just because like our mine workers are like really good. They're like are really doing their job. And the other kingdoms are like, yeah, I don't like that you're so much richer than us. So there's definitely a lot of political intrigue and question marks that we need to figure out. So we get a lot of this world building up front, and then all of a sudden we are thrust into an arranged marriage situation that she is kind of like, well, this sucks, I don't like that. But then her dad's like, well, hey, actually, I need all the other kingdoms to believe that this is a real marriage and not just like an alliance farce. So you and your new fiance, you're gonna go tour the kingdom, you're gonna go see all the other cities and, you know, say hi, make face. And she's like, oh, what do you mean I get to leave the castle? Like, wait, I'm not gonna say no. You mean I get to explore? I don't have to be stuck down in the cellar, and I can actually leave the castle and go to the city that's like 30 minutes away that I have never been to my entire life? Okay, I'm on my way. So she is now at the point where she's starting to explore things. I think she's starting to see that the world is not as, she's kind of like, there must be more to this. I mean, I guess technically it's like a reverse Beauty and the Beast almost, because she wants to leave the castle and see the provincial life. Belle wanted more than the provincial life, but Arya wants the provincial life. So she's kind of like, okay, like I get to explore, like what do you mean? So we're currently where she's starting to explore. There has been a lot of upfront world building. I get what's happening here, and I think the writing is fun, but also we do have like 3 main male characters that are of note. We have the fiance, who she's kind of like, he has a gambling problem. I don't know about him. We have his brother, and then there happens to be a handsome stranger. We have no idea how he works in the story. So I'm intrigued. Okay, my first impressions on this book right now are that there's so much happening, but I'm like, ooh, like what is happening though? Like I get we've had all this background, but I want to know. So the fact that I'm really intrigued and like I want to know what's happening is good. However, I've heard that at some point we get some dragons. Yeah. So this is definitely going to be one of those books where I feel like I'm gonna have to get to the end to have a really solid opinion for what's happening, though I am definitely really intrigued to figure out what is happening. So I'm gonna continue reading this, and I'm gonna have a really good time doing so. Hello friends, it is currently Sunday evening. Now yesterday, I literally rotted in bed and finished 2 books, one of them being Games God's Play, which you'll see in the next TBR Takedown episode. However, I did finish Deadwood, which we'll talk about my full thoughts on that in just a second, because when I finished that book, I needed to get up, walk around, and I managed to walk around to Walmart, and I managed to get myself a little bit of a clothing haul here. So I figured I'd show you some of the things that I got. Number 1, this like little waffle knit t-shirt thing. It's got like a shorter cut in the front and longer in the back, with some like cute little detailing that I feel like you can't see this at all, but I think this is just gonna be a cute little oversized shirt to wear. But I got the same shirt in brown, which I think that I like the brown better, but like the blue was also cute. So when you see me wearing the same shirt in multiple colors, I do that frequently. I think those were like $17 a piece. And then I also ended up getting this like kind of more sweatshirt material. Like it's kind of that like not fleece, like is this not really a terry cloth material on the backside, but you know what I'm talking about. But it's really cool because it's got some like, yet again, on the side of it, it's kind of like angled inwards, and then there's like a little cut out at the very bottom of this one, which I thought it was really cute. Then I ended up, Joyspun has the most absolutely wonderful pajamas. I always love the nightgowns, but then they ended up having some like long sleeve shirts and then pants that ended up matching. And so I obviously had to grab the brown pants. These are actually joggers, which I'm so short that I usually can't wear anything but joggers. So she's a win. So I am very excited about those. But I also ended up getting the matching top to go with that. I feel like I love the color brown. I love it literally so much. You guys very clearly like base reads is brown, right? I own like one brown shirt and that's it. And it's a really warm brown sweatshirt, but I don't have this like really pretty cooler brown. So I saw it everywhere and I managed to buy it everywhere. But the Time and True sweatshirts, I have a couple of the more like tunicky ones and I love them. So I figured when you see the same shirt in a new color, you get the new color, right? Anyways, that's the fall haul. There were so many other things that I wanted to get. They have a lot of like matching sweat set kind of things, which I love because I work from home and that's basically all I live in. But I decided to be good. I only bought those, which was still quite a few things to buy. But I feel like the fall wardrobe. I didn't buy any new clothes for fall last year and I just kept thinking, okay, next year. And we finally made it next year. We have made it to fall. So I am just like, I can't wait to live in brown and maroon and brown and maroon. Maybe some green, maybe some more brown, and just be fall. Anyways, let's talk about Deadwood. So this book, I'm going to end up giving it a 4-star, okay? I do think that there were a lot of chunks at the beginning that felt kind of on the more repetitive side. Like we really have to establish the true depths of the really ickiness of her father and also her stepmother. She is just really not in a good situation at all. All of the people around her suck, and so we really have to develop not necessarily the suckiness of them, but just the overall like umbrella that she is under that she cannot get out of. So once we actually get to Deadwood, things started happening a little bit more then, which I did not read the synopsis about this book. I pretty much never do at this point, and I absolutely love that I am the way that I am in that regard anyways. But Deadwood is basically like an outlaw town. So being the cowboy romance author that Carly Brenna is, she wanted to write a more Wild West inspired fantasy. And honestly, had I not really known that it was supposed to be a Wild West, I don't know that I fully would have picked it out, because we end up finding this town, we're taking shelter, and also part of me wonders if I didn't think that it was like super Wild Westy because there was a windstorm at one point and I was like, yeah, go inside, and that was that. And I didn't think too much of it, and I was like, is my West Texan showing? Like, is this do other people think that's weird? Because I think it's weird. Like, so they end up hunkering down basically in this town and they learn some more things, but we start to get a little bit more about the world. We start to develop the most painfully slow burn, and not painful slow burn, but just like definitely very, very, very slow. I was very satisfied as a slow burn girly. There was definitely very, very solid emotional connection before we moved on to the physical connection. So if that's something that you're into, Deadwood. I also think that the magic system in this world is really cool. Like, we have our female main character's abilities, but she doesn't really actually know the full extent of her abilities because she's just kind of doing as her father tells her, right? So she is learning that there is more to be found, but we don't fully know that. Like, we don't really discover that much in this book. All we know is that at one point when there's like a windstorm, there's magic floating around in the air, and that magic is not good magic, so you want to make sure that you do have your little bandana on whenever you leave the house, right? So there's just so many very interesting elements to this world that I don't know that I've seen done in a fanro setting before, and I don't know how many other authors could nail it quite as well or really import so many of these different elements quite like a cowboy romance author could do. So overall, I honestly, the more that I sit on it, the more that I'm like, I feel like this is probably actually closer to a 4.5 star versus a 4 star. I just think that the combination of the slow burn, the weird Wild West of it all, there were also dragons. Okay, we haven't even talked about the dragons yet. The dragons in this book, we don't get as much of them necessarily because we're definitely like setting up quite a lot of things. Like, this is definitely a very big set up book. I need book 2 immediately. Thank you so much. But I do think that the dragons, while we didn't get to see as much of them, we did get to see that these are the kind of dragons that I really like. Like, they are full-fledged characters. They're able to talk. They are their own, like, entity, which I'm not going to go any further because I feel like talking any further is definitely going into spoiler territories. But there were just so many really cool elements to this book. We had dragons. We have the Wild West. We got a slow burn romance. We've got some really cool magic that we're learning more about. We have a main male character that, again, I'm not going to say who the main male character is because part of the fun that I was having was discovering who it actually was going to be. When I say that they had an emotional connection before the physical ever came along, it was so good. Like, this is definitely like the Akamath style kind of romance in which we are healing from some things, we're going through some things, we're figuring some things out. So I love this book. I had a really good time with it. Carly Brenner forever. Like, I need book 2 immediately. Thank you so much. So I have a couple options as to what we're going to read next. Specifically, I'm really torn in between Anathema and Nocticadia by Carrie Lake, though I don't fully know which one I want to decide between. Also, I really need to get back to reading Throne of Broken Gods, so I'm gonna do some debating. I'll figure out what I'm gonna read next, and then we will read the 3rd book in this vlog. Y'all, do you ever just get in a mood where literally you just want to read literally everything in front of you, but there's just not enough time in the day? Because I just filmed my fall TBR, which I'm so excited about, but I want to read literally everything, and I kept thinking, oh, I want to read that, I want to read that, I want to read this, I want to read this entire pile in front of me, but I also want to read this entire pile that I don't have in front of me. What do I do here? Because I want to read it all. Because if that is you, me too, girl. Me too, bestie. Like, I'm in a reading mood, and I think it's just because it's fall. Like, it's time to get cozy. It's time to read. It's time to sit. It's time to sit and read. It's time to get cozy. It is time to read. And I love it here. I really do. It's fall, y'all. Okay, yeah, so I know that I said that I wanted to read either Nocticadia or Anathema next, but the hype for Neverthorn just keeps coming up and up and up, and I was like, you know what? I'm just a girl. I just want to follow what the people are reading. I just want to read what's popular, so I did. So I decided to pick this book up last night, and I got about 42 pages in. So this book is following our female main character, Harlow, who is actually a magic school dropout. She actually went to Neverthorn Academy when she was like 16, but we're finding out some things happened that made her need to run, need to get away, need to leave as fast as possible. And she actually has a lot of PTSD regarding her experience at this school. So we meet up with Harlow when she is in the middle of a heist, but unfortunately there is a man there to stop her. She's not quite sure if this man is here to steal the same thing that she's trying to steal or what's going on. Then she hears a familiar voice over his walkie-talkie, and she's like, who's that guy? Wait, they're definitely here for me. So she tries to get away. She doesn't quite make it because she is stopped by one of her peers from Neverthorn, who just so happens to be a really hot 6'5" professor now, who has now put her in a very rough position in which she basically has to agree to go back to Neverthorn. Now, basically, there's an evil, bad group of people. Neverthorn is a good group of people. The evil, bad people are trying to get through magical walls or whatever to get through to Neverthorn, and the person who was really supporting these walls is now gone. And she is, unfortunately and naturally, one of the only people left who can continue to fight the good fight. So she is going back to the old school that she left and never wanted to go back to, unfortunately. This book is very silly goofy. It reads very quirky and funny, but it's also a chosen one trope. The chosen one just so happens to be a 29-year-old magic school dropout. So we're getting some dark academia vibes, but dark academia in general is not necessarily a trope that I love because I feel like a lot of these books, they're based around younger characters. I just generally don't enjoy following younger characters. But now that we have a 29-year-old who's a little bit more jaded, who definitely doesn't want to be here, I feel like this could be the key to making me like an academia setting. And also the chosen one trope, I feel like that's a really big YA trope, and I'm curious to see how it is going to be in more of an adult setting. So I'm very, very intrigued by this book. I'm going to continue reading this. I am also reading Anathema, but I will talk about that more in my next vlog because I will be participating in the Readathon Rebellion, and I went ahead and did my first rolls for that, which I picked Anathema, and then I started Neverthorn before I did my rolls for that, so we'll talk about that later. However, Neverthorn, I'm real excited about. Y'all, I just had the best experience of my entire life. I walk in and the door was a little sticky because it's on the side of the shopping complex over here that gets a lot of wind. Anyways, I opened the door and we kind of like immediately struck up a hee hee ha ha over the door. So I told her what the project was, showed her some pictures, and this woman not only was pointing me towards the yarn that I needed, which I hope she was going to, but she was doing all of the math for me. She's going to get all this stuff special ordered for me. She helped me pick out the colors. She showed me several different options and wasn't pushy about anything. We just sat there and chit chat and had a good little afternoon chit chat, and I'm sold. This is my new yarn store. Like, I will buy yarn nowhere else. I mean, I probably will, but I'm gonna wish it was from here because she was just so nice. And while I am sad that it has taken me almost 6 months to finally come into this store, I am so glad that today happened to be the day that I walked in, because actually tonight she decided and had the great idea to start this like crochet along, where it's an online like Zoom situation in which everybody meets from the comfort of their own home, but they're listening to an audiobook, and that audiobook is none other than The Hobbit. Like, are you joking? So I am tonight going to learn how to knit, which I've been needing. I've done a like small square coaster with like giant macrame cord forever ago, like 2 years ago. So I know like the very, very basics of knitting, but I haven't really tried it since, and I have been wanting to learn how to knit for a very long time. So I'm going to try to make these little mittens, which I feel like is going to be kind of hard, but that's what they're doing, and I'm just going to enjoy the journey, right? But I do think that because it is a smaller project, it'll probably be better than me just like full send doing a sweater, which I'm very prone to full send. Let's do a blanket, a blanket instead of just like a little mitten. And I did tell her that I wanted to make some socks, and she was like, I'm not gonna lie, socks might be a little harder. And I was like, okay, thanks for your honesty. So she pointed me a couple different yarn directions for the blanket, and we ended up settling on in case you were curious, it's the Anchor Bay. It is 50% cotton, 50% superwash merino wool. And then I was telling her that I kind of wanted to start a knit project, so she gave me the yarn, and then she asked me, instead of just sending me on my way with my little, I forget exactly what they're called, when it's a shank, whenever the yarn is in a circle that they twist together and it's not actually wound. She was like, hey, do you want us to wind it up for you? And I was like, yeah. So she wound me a little cake. Incredible, because I do not have a yarn winder. And then I got the double pointed needles. Apparently I know what that is now. Totally. And then she was like, oh, well, let me just print the pattern off for you. prints off the pattern. She goes, oh, I accidentally printed on cardstock, but that's okay. You'll have an extra sturdy pattern. Let me go ahead and put it in a page protector for you. I want to be that woman when I grow up. Anywho, since I'm set, I'm stacked, and I'm so ready. I feel like I'm not a cozy person. I don't enjoy like cozy books. I don't come off as a very cozy person. I don't feel like, but the cozy hobbies go so hard. So I'm about to have me some cozy little hobbies, and we are going to have a fantastic fall. Did you bring your dino for your nap time? Did you bring your dino, Nene? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to make you up. That's a big stretchy. Wow. Hello friends, I have officially finished Neverthorn, so I wanted to give you my final thoughts and then also wrap out this vlog. It took me a couple days to not only finish Neverthorn, but then to also sit on my final thoughts because I had some really conflicting feelings about this book. So I'm gonna end up giving it a 3-star. I loved so many parts of this book. I really, really did. And then I started to have some issues with it, and then I was really loving it. Like the very initial bit, I would say like the first, I don't know, 15% or so, obsessed. I was down bad. I just kept thinking about it in my brain, okay? The next 50% almost, I was kind of like, we're still doing this thing? Like, we're still here, we're still doing this thing? And then the last half of, and then the last, I don't know, what does that end up mathing out to? The last, 25%? 35%? Did I already say 35? Did I already say 65? I don't know, the last remaining chunk of the book, I really had so much fun with, especially as we started to get into the plot. And I think that kind of leaves me with this overall feeling of this book was really fun. It was really interesting. The magic system was so cool, like literally so cool. The plot was really fun. But ultimately, for a silly, goofy book, this book was just too long. Like, I think that if you're gonna have a silly, goofy book, the page length should maybe also be silly, goofy. This page length was not. It was like over 500 pages, okay? I do think that there were so many moments that we were just having a fun time and we're just like cringy, but like a fun cringy. And that we were doing it so often and also not really accomplishing much, not really going anywhere, that I was just kind of like, is this even good? Like, do I even like this? But then I would put it down, come back to it a little bit later, and I was like, wait, but this is so cool. Like, the magic system is so cool. So my overall thoughts on this book are kind of landing around a 3-star. Like, there were some really interesting moments, but also, like, it was just too long. Like, it solidly could have been, at minimum, 100 pages shorter, if not 200 pages shorter. But I'm definitely glad that I did read it. However, I would say, unless you were desperately, urgently wanting to pick this book up, low-key, I wouldn't, at least until book 2 comes out. Because where we left off in this book, like, I think the plot was really only starting to really push into kind of like a greater series that's happening here. But it really didn't happen until the very end. And then you want all the rest of the info, like you're really pushed into wanting more info, and now there's no info. So at this point in time, I'm gonna have to wait until that book comes out in 2026, but like, it wasn't so incredible that I'm so glad that I have something to look forward to. It just kind of feels like, well, I'm just gonna move on until then, and hopefully I may or may not circle back by that point. So I would say, unless you're like crazy interested in the concept of this book and you just like need to read it, maybe wait. But definitely when book 2 comes out, and even as further books in the series come out, I think it was still fun. Like, I'm so glad that I read it. I just wouldn't say by any means that anyone needs to go pick it up immediately. However, this book was so magic-y, and like, I love the magic system. The dark academia actually ended up working out for me, and I would less call it dark academia and more just academia. Like, it wasn't dark academia at all. Like, they were just in a school, in a magical school, which I actually ended up really liking from this book. And I said beforehand, I feel like given this character and this character's background, this may actually be the thing to make me like being in a school setting. Yeah, it did. I do think it did. So I am glad that I read this book, while it wasn't like my favorite book in the world, because it definitely is just giving fall. It is giving magic-y, cutesy fall, which is what I need at this moment. Like, it's not October yet. Like, I don't want to go full deep dark gothic yet, because I kind of got my fix filled with The Poisoner. And now I got my magic-y fill. So I don't really know what I'm going to read next, but I hope that it'll be fun. Anywho's, thank you so much for watching this vlog. If you've made it this far into the video, go ahead and leave some sort of like magic-y emoji. Anywho's, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future fall reading vlogs, because you guys, I am in fall. I am fall. I am in fall, and I am fall, and I love every moment of what's currently happening. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one.